Hey guys, I'm Evan and welcome to Country View Acres. So one of the questions I get quite often, at least probably on every video, is what happened to the Allis Chalmers? Are you ever going to go back to work on the Allis Chalmers? Are you ever going to get it finished? I get that quite often. And here it is, still sitting in the workshop. We haven't touched it probably since, I'm going to say probably since like March, April, somewhere in there, probably March. And it hasn't changed one bit. I haven't had a chance to work on it until yesterday. I finally got back out here yesterday, started cleaning up some more parts, getting the stuff cleaned up, ready to reassemble. And the condition that it's in right now is we still just have the left rear axle, we have it on. I'm trying to get the right rear axle put back together. And on the tractor, there's no reason to video any of that because I videoed the last one. So I'm just trying to get the second axle back on, and then we can continue making videos, and then hopefully we can kind of get this back running here, this winter and get to be able to use the tractor again. So this is my first time attempting to restore or rebuild a tractor, and this is a lot bigger job than I think you really realize. I understand why people take apart a tractor. They get it apart and they never put it back together because there ends up being so much work trying to get everything cleaned up properly, repainted, and put back together. There's just way more time in it than I think people realize. And I can see why people tear them apart and they just sit there and they give up. I understand that 100%. You have to be very committed to the process, that's for sure. So my biggest mistake on this tractor was not doing a proper cleaning. I should have put some degreaser on here, probably a pressure washer, preferably like maybe a hot pressure washer, and get this really all the grease and gunk off of it as I could. I didn't do that at all, and that has made the whole cleanup process extremely, it's lengthened everything. It's made it a lot harder to get things cleaned up. So that was my biggest mistake, was not attempting to do a thorough cleaning of this whole tractor before I brought it in here. So if you guys are new to this project, the intention was to fix everything on the back half of the tractor last winter. And we pulled the axles out, the final drive assemblies out. We're rebuilding those with new bearings and seals in there. We got new brake drums, new brake pads. We've got the lift arm assembly right here. We rebuilt the hydraulic cylinder that is internal to the lift arm. And then we've got new bearings in our PTO shaft. And we just need to get everything put back together, cleaned and painted. And the intention is to paint it from the transmission back. And then the back half would be done. So hopefully this winter we'll get the back half of this tractor done, and then hopefully we've got enough time to do some other things. I've actually got several parts already bought for the Allis Chalmers, and I've got a lot of plans for it. So let me just go ahead and show you a few of the things that we're going to do on the front half. So I've got one other thing on the tractor that I want to get fixed this winter, and that is the fuel gauge. One, it doesn't work, and two, it leaks. So one of the bolts is actually broken off on it, so it's not tight against the tank. So if you overfill it, it leaks. And if you go up an incline, it'll start leaking out gas out of the gas tank. So I was only able to put in I'd only keep about a quarter tank in the tractor, because any higher than that you'd always get it in an incline, you'd be spilling gas everywhere. So we're gonna have to take the tank off, try to get that broken bolt out of there. And then I've got a brand new fuel gauge. And you can see the new gauge here on the back is a float that is geared, and it adjusts the fuel depending on the height. And hopefully we'll get the tank off, get that all fixed, repainted with the new fuel gauge in there. That's definitely something that I want to try to tackle this winter while we got it in the shop. So another thing I want to try to tackle this winter, it's probably one of the biggest problems I've had with this tractor since I've owned it, is got to be the front end loader. This is not the original loader on this tractor. I was told this was a D17 loader. It was a trip bucket loader. It has been modified to fit on the D17. They have changed it to put hydraulic cylinders on it to make it more modern. But when they welded the hydraulic cylinders on there, they did it in the exact geometry of a trip bucket. So the bucket cannot tip up. Flat on the ground is the highest up it will tilt. It can only tilt down, it can't tilt up. So it still has the trip bucket geometry to it, so it doesn't really work very well. So one is I want to try to re-weld this geometry so that the bucket can actually curl upwards and hold a load of dirt. So you just really couldn't move much with it. It was very awkward to use. So then the bucket itself is actually a trip bucket. It has a weird shape to it. I have several people tell me that my bucket is on upside down. I really don't think it's upside down. I think that is the original shape of a trip bucket. It's made to just plow straight in to a pile of dirt, and then the loader would lift up. It wouldn't have any bucket curl at all. And I think that's the original shape. It's just really weird. And while I'm redoing this, I think we'll change it out to a skid steer quick attach on the front, and then I can hook up a normal bucket or a hay spear or any other front end implement that I want to use. It'll make the Allis Chalmers, it'll make it way more versatile if I put a quick attach on the front. So this D17 is from 1959. It's a Series 1, and the hydraulics on this are extremely slow. So this machine has a 1.5 gallon per minute flow. A modern tractor is closer to 10 to 11 gallons a minute. So this is like 1/10 of the speed of a normal tractor. So when you went to lift the loader up, it may take 30 seconds before it finally got to full height. Extremely slow to work with. You could get the job done, but you knew it was going to take a long time. So to fix the slow hydraulics, a lot of people would add a auxiliary hydraulic pump or a second hydraulic pump, and they would mount it up here on the front of the tractor, and it would be driven directly off of the engine. So I believe I've bought everything I need to have to add the second hydraulic pump and to speed everything up. So this here is the new hydraulic pump, and this is going to mount on the front of the tractor. You got to do a little bit of calculations based off the RPM of your tractor. You can come up with what the proper sizing of this is. And I believe this comes out to be 10.8 gallons a minute. So that's going to speed up the tractor quite a bit. So I also bought the mounting plate for the front of the tractor to put the hydraulics in. It'll stand it off the front bumper a few inches. And the hydraulic pump will mount to the front of this bracket. You can see this is going to stick out from the tractor, almost 8 inches or so. So you got to keep that in mind. That's going to be sticking out there pretty far. And then you have a drive shaft that goes through a hole in the bumper back to the drive pulley. This mounts to the drive pulley, and then the drive shaft goes in there, and then this will drive the hydraulic pump from the engine. So I believe I have all the parts to do it. So hopefully we'll get the chance to be able to finally get that fixed, and we'll probably focus on the loader if we have time and try to get the loader all fixed and working exactly the way we want it to before we tackle trying to do any more repairs to the front half of the tractor. I think I'd like to get the loader and get that all correct before I attempt to do anything with the engine or anything else there on the front of the tractor. So I know this was a fairly boring video. It's just an update on the Allis Chalmers, where we're at and what we hope to do this winter. And I just got one more piece here to get the paint off of, and I can get that other axle final drive assembly assembled and back on the tractor. After that, my plans are going to be probably to just get this whole section clean enough where I can paint the back half of the tractor. And then we'll start putting on all the other pieces like the brakes and the seat and the fenders and the wheels, and we'll start getting that all put back together. But I think my main focus is going to be to strip this section down once the base of it's assembled and try to just paint this back half of the tractor. And there's a ton of grease on there, gunked up, 1/2 inch thick of gunk up underneath here where the snap coupler was underneath. And I've got a lot of cleaning to do. So that's probably what's coming up next. Hopefully we'll start having videos out on the tractor again here, before Christmas. We'll end up hopefully have some videos out working on the Allis Chalmers. So it's definitely getting too cold. It's getting too cold. It's getting cold enough outside that I want to be in here doing this kind of work rather than being outside. So that's definitely a big motivator on what to do today. Cold days, I'll be in here. So, but anyway, I think that's going to be it for this video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.